I think it's a good time to address what's known as thought control, indoctrination, and brainwashing. Have you ever wondered how generally held beliefs became generally held beliefs? Is it because certain prominent influencers have been allowed to repeat the same story over and over and over and over and over and over and over, sort of like up in the Mormon country, where the LDS church is basically everywhere and 24/7, all week long, again and again and again and again and again and again and again. They tell you about Martin Harris's hat and the gold plates that he interpreted for the world to believe in with Joe Smith, apparently. Joe Smith and Martin Harris, they read them golden plates they found in the grove in Palmyra, there we go, New York, where every deity in the Holy Bible came and visited Joe Smith and Martin Harris in their bedrooms. Even I think Brigham Young claimed that the deities of the Bible would visit him in his bedroom too. Now, I'm not trying to, pick on Franklin Graham or, the Billy Graham ministries there. Or I'm not trying to pick on, Paula Smith, the White House spiritual guide. Wow, I mean, she does the Benny Hinn, too. You ever see her slay people with her hands and knock them down on the floor? She just throws her hand out there, and all these people fall on the ground and start kicking about and rolling around. And because Paula Smith went swoosh with her hand, like Benny Hinn would do. Now, I don't want to refer to like Jim Jones or anything like that. Or L. Ron Hubbard. I don't want to get the Scientologists all pissed off. But, some of that stuff is poop. I didn't say all of it. I said some of it's just out there. It's way out there. And that goes for the Hindus and the Buddhists and, the Islamists, the Muslims, I guess. Some of their stuff's just as wild as what Abraham came up with. Abraham woke up one day when he was about 50 years old, and he came up with, God told him he was the chosen, and he was going to be the number one Jew, So, I don't know. If you don't believe me, just read the Bible the Jews wrote. I mean, if you need to be convinced, just read the various versions of the Holy Bible that came, I guess, from the Hebrew texts in the ancient, 4,000, 5,000-year-old scrolls. Now, to make my point here, ladies and gentlemen, intergalactic space, the big nothing in between the galaxies, the void. Have you ever wondered how old that is? How long is the space in between the galaxies, in between the stars and the planets? How long has that space been in existence? And I'm not talking about, how long ago, presumably, arguably, I guess, I don't know. The myth of the Big Bang. The Big Bang was supposed to be like 18 billion years ago, but what was there before the Big Bang? And where did the Big Bang come from? And what was the Big Bang made out of before it went bang? These are, basic questions, where you're pushing back the frontiers of human consciousness and understanding. I don't know, man. This whole Israel is chosen, blah, blah, blah. They have a right to go around and attack whoever they want to go around and attack because they're God's chosen, And then, of course, Donald Trump and Joe Biden and all the other Congress critters and Senate critters and, all these people that are convinced that the Hebrew, Abrahamic, Judeo-Christian story is true, that they got to, do whatever Israel tells them to. I'm sorry, folks, I ain't buying this bullshit. And it's bullshit, trust me. Yeah, the next time you see that nitwit Yahoo Milikowski, ask that Polish Bolshevik, how old is intergalactic space, BB? And then, ask Don Trump. Don Trump's the smartest man that there's ever been. He should be able to tell you, right? Old Don Trump. J.D. Vance should be able to answer these questions, right? Because they're the smartest people in the room. Huh. I'm going to end this one with saying this. I didn't used to like James Carville. He used to just rub me the wrong way. But here recently he came out and he made some comments about Donald Trump. I'm thinking, wow, maybe me and old Jimmy Carville are more alike than I thought. I think we got something in common there, Jim Carville. I'm going to try to get a hold of you. I really am. See if we can't figure out a emergency shutoff switch. What's called an emergency shutdown switch, so that this government can't drag us into wars. 8 million people just said no. 8 million people just said no. And I think that's a sizable referendum on telling Trump to go to hell. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it right there. And as always, hasta la vista, God bless, and I will try to come back.